this meeting of the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines to order. Our first order of business is the invocation. Craig, maybe one of our newest members is giving the honors.
If you would pray with me this evening. Gracious Heavenly Father, we take just a moment to pause. In a world that's hectic, our lives are hectic. It's such a beautiful day outside. It's a beautiful place that we can have a time here together at Sandy Pines. It's our love for it. Father, your love for us. We don't forget that each and every day. Lord, as we do our work here today to continue to improve this park, I thank you for the members that are here, for the board that serves in their time. And we just ask you to bless this time as we come together, Father, to do the work of the park, but also to continue your work. And we give you glory in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, this time let's stand for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kimberly, can you do the roll call, please?
Sure. Alan Carpenter.
Here.
Rick Day.
Here.
Bob Deckinga.
Here.
Pat Dosma.
Here.
Kelly Johnson.
Here.
Paul Pepple.
Here.
Stephanie Stefania.
Here.
And Scott Wyman.
Here.
And Craig Bendy.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Our next order of business is to welcome, first of all, our new members and returning members. We, recent election, Rick Day was elected for a 3-year term, as was Craig Van Beek and Pat Dusma. We're thrilled to have them. Also want to give a little bit of thanks to Larry Munger and Jenny Hager for their years of service. At this time, we are going to have nominations, or give you the results of our nominations for the executive committee. At our planning session on Monday, we discussed the nominations, and there actually won't be an election because only 4 people decided to put their name in the hat. It's such a thankless job. No, it's not. I'm really blessed to be able to do this. So the committee nominations, executive committee nominations for this year are Ellen Carpenter for chairperson, Kelly Johnson for vice chair, Paul Pepple for secretary, and Rick Day for treasurer. And because they're unopposed, at this time, I will entertain a motion to accept these nominations and create the new executive committee.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our next order of business is the approval of new park members for August of 2023. Jeff, could you give us some numbers and demographics for those new members, please?
Yes, I would love to. All right, so for the month of August, we had 36 total new sales through the sales department. 22 of those were for sale by owner. 14 of those were through our sales department. We didn't have any transfer memberships during the month of August. 52 new members came into our park. 1 individual in their 20s, 18 in their 30s, 11 in their 40s, 9 in their 50s, 7 in their 60s, 4 in their 70s, and 2 in their 80s. Yeah. This concludes the summary of August 2023 member sales.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the new park members for August of 2023.
So moved. Supported.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our Our next order of business is the approval of the August 2023 Board of Directors meeting minutes. The Board of Directors received these via email to review. Are there any questions or corrections from the board?
Motion to accept.
Support.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Kimberly, could you give us a overall review of the Sandy Pines Wilderness Trust financial statements for August of 2023?
Sure. I'm ready. All right, so for August year-to-date, our August days cash and reserve, what I calculated, and I did kind of share this in the footprints, just kind of show the trend of what we see with the days in reserve. Through the year, it always starts off high and then kind of drops down towards the end of the year. So we did notice a little bit of a drop as expected in August, and we're at 144 days. There are a few things that impacted that, that I didn't account for, but we're gonna see that shift again, either up or down by the very end of the fiscal year. So, member accounts receivable balance, you will notice is down, and it's actually in a negative 2,913 for August 2023. We do notice this as we close in on the year, and this is due to some members that we see prepaying for their dues as they leave for the season. So they'll stop at the office and prepay ahead of time on their dues just to get that taken care of. And so that affects our accounts receivable balance for our membership. Accounts payable liabilities is down and lower for the year, which is always good to see. Total net income as of the end of August 2023 is up $240,000 year to date. And is $715,000 over the year-end total. So with 1 month left to go, which the month of September usually has some additional expenses and stuff. So we'll see where that ends at the end of September. A major factor that we noticed contributing to this increase in the month of August was actually a turnaround in the unrealized loss of $223,000 investments. So if you remember last year we had a significant loss that we're noticing, an unrealized loss on our investment account with Charles Schwab, and that's turned around this year, so that was good to see. And we also had an increase in interest income of $23,500. So that did contribute to the net income that you're seeing at the end of August. Miscellaneous income and administration is up $90,000, and that's related to the receipt of the employee retention credit that was filed and received during the year. Public safety gross income is up $30,000, and that's a result of the additional income received from bus passes through the year. Recreation net income is down $30,000, and that's just due to the changes of the Happy Shack. We've been limiting that to the more the concessions, and that is offset with a decrease of $30,000 in cost of goods sold. Resort services gross income is up $640,000. That is a result of the 2022 COLA increase for the 2023 dues, and also the change in the billing and offering of the cable to all members within the dues for the year. Currently, the cable Wi-Fi billing expense is lower than budget with the timing and streamlining of the new charter billings, but we will see that adjusted by the end of the year as that's trued up there. Professional services is up with legal billings that carried over into this fiscal year, but that slowed down, and then we do have continued development on the Dynamics 365 portal that is going through that account. The final member electric billing will be reviewed and assessed and billed next week for the September billings. I do want to take this moment just to personally thank our wonderful volunteers that helped with the electric meter readings. It is a lot of work going around the park and reading every single meter that's out there, but they bring it back and they do it so graciously, volunteering their time, and then bring it back to me as we input that data into the system. So it's a huge help to our staff, and it definitely helps streamline that process. So I just want to make sure I mention that. You will see that in your billings in this next in your billing this next month. Lease income is down $29,000 with the transfer of the country store and the cafe that was moved to Park and Garden. Park and Garden was up $80,000 with the addition of the retail store, the country store and cafe. Salaries were also up approximately $18,000 to account for the work at the store and the cafe. But overall, Park and Garden net income is $10,000 from meeting the total budget for the year. So they did very well this year. Our golf rentals are up $50,000 compared to last year and $9,500 from reaching their budget for the year end. Total expenses down $10,000 from last year. So the net income at the golf cart rentals is about $56,000 over budget for the year. So they've been doing very well there as well. Our retail department is $113,000 under the year-to-date budget. $25,000 of that was related to the loss of the revenue with the delay of the gas pump installation. We've been reporting kind of where that was at. But I was actually at the gas pump this morning, first thing when I came in, and we did receive reports today from the contractors that the final install was being completed today. So our staff will be able to test that next week. An additional $80,000 expense was incurred in the retail center, and that was related to repairs to the store and the cafe prior to the season opening, getting that ready for us to operate. And then last, sales within the park has increased. So our sales specifically within Sandy Pines has gone from 30% to 50% and is up $110,000 for the year. Our sales net income is within $236,000 of the year-to-date budget, but within the month end, there was a sales deposit transfer. So if you look at the financial statements, you're going to see a sales deposit transfer. And so it does reflect on this balance sheet. It was for about $329,000. So that's related to a few sales that the payment was made to the buyer, but the payment from the seller did not deposit yet. So that is a timing issue, and that will be cleared out next month. So overall, with that adjustment taking place, sales is actually $93,000 over the year-to-date budget. So, and again, overall, we're sitting pretty good year-to-date on a consolidated basis for Sandy Pines.
Thank you. Do any of the board members have questions or comments about the Sandy Pines financial statements? I'll entertain a motion to approve the August 2023 Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails financial statements.
So moved. Supported.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Kimberly, could you give us an update on the Lake Monterey Golf Course financials?
Sure. Operating cash for Lake Monterey Golf Course is up $200,000 from last year. We did bring a proposal to the board and the finance committee, which was approved to pay $100,000 on the note payable to Sandy Pines for this year. So we will see that paid by the end of this fiscal year. Total net income for August year to date is up $35,000 from last year. And that's related to the increase in memberships that we're seeing within the golf course, the green fees, and the food, wine, and merchandise. During the year of August, or during the year of 2023, we did notice, or we did have salaries increase over the budgeted amount, which was expected, but that was with the overlap of our staffing just for the tenure and transfer of the management there. So we will see that kind of drop back down next year. So that concludes my review for Monterey.
Do any of the board of directors have questions or comments about the financials for Lake Monterey's golf course? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is a few comments from me and then from Jeff. I want to thank all of you for coming out on this beautiful autumn night to spend some time with us and get updated and hear the information from an official source. instead of social media and your neighbor's campfire. We've had a few comments about communication, and I think we've really worked on open communication. But I guess, we can, give the numbers to the footprints, but we can't make them read it. So if people ask you questions or make comments and you're not sure, go to the source, come to a meeting, read the footprints, get online, and use those sources to help answer any questions your neighbors might have. I appreciate that. I also appreciate being able to be the chairperson yet again. I think that is a recognition of faith in my leadership, or it could just be that no one else wanted to do it. Either way, I will do my best again in the next year to lead these people.
Thank you.
I also want to really thank our recreation staff. I think they did an amazing job this year, setting up activities and scheduling things. I've been hearing we would like this and we would like that. At this point, if there's something you really want to do, let me ask you to volunteer to coordinate it. And you can talk to Abby and see if there's a place to fit it on the schedule, and then you can see who you can get to help you run it. There's other options out there. It's just we need to step up and be volunteers and run some of these things. It's actually a lot of fun. So think about that. Jeff?
Yes, thank you, Ellen. Again, just I'd like to reiterate a lot of the comments that Ellen made as well. Thank you for coming out on a beautiful fall evening. I think overall we've had an excellent season this year. Positive vibe throughout the park, a lot of positive feedback. I want to thank our staff. Our staff is amazing. Thank the board for continuing to support our staff and back us. The staff is the backbone, but you the members also help make that happen as well. So we're blessed to have a lot of great people in this park, and we had a phenomenal season. Welcome to the new board members, Pat and Craig. Excited to have you on board and looking forward to working with you over the next few years. I'd like to reiterate what Ellen said as well. Thank you to Larry Munger and Jimmy Hager for being on the board and doing their best to continue to make this park great. Overall, again, it's been a fabulous season this season. I think it's probably one of the best that I've been associated with, and this is season 4 for me. It sounds like a sitcom or a soap opera, but it's season 4, and it's hard to believe that it's passed that fast. Some of the off-season focus that we're going to be working on this off-season, contrary to popular belief or comments on social media, we don't close up shop. We don't drink a lot of coffee and eat donuts in the off-season. We do have a bunch of stuff that we do. We take this time to improve. We continue to try and tweak where we need to tweak and get better. Continuous improvement. And so employee evaluations are taking place this month. That is happening over the next week. We'll continue to focus on improving our systems. The Dynamics 365 member management system, we'll continue to tweak that. New system had some bumps, but again, member feedback has been, once we fix the guest pass situation and some of the login stuff, that's been working well, so we'll continue to focus in on that. We are going to be looking at a new point of sale system. Our current system, and plus Kimberly and Shannon in accounting and finance, but it's an old system. It's not very up to date, and it causes a ton of rework for our accounting department. So we need to look at a new point of sale system for both Lake Monterey as well as Lake Monterey Golf Course as well as St. Pines. So we'll be going through that process. If you haven't taken a drive through Phase 2, trees are starting to come down. You'll see flags out there. Phase 2 pool is starting, the construction is starting. We're implementing bi-weekly reviews with the contractor. We'll have 1 or 2 board members be a part of that bi-weekly meeting and review pool committee as well as staff members, just to make certain that the timelines are on time and at or below budget. And right now, indications are that hole will be dug starting the first week of October. Concrete for the pool should be poured, and hopefully the decking will be poured as well. All that will take place prior to Thanksgiving, and then it'll sit there for December, January, and then coming back in the spring, they'll finish off what needs to be finished off, and then they'll, December, January, they'll work on the pool houses. So it's pretty amazing what they can turn around so quickly. So we'll be working on that. Department surveys are coming out, so keep your eye on that. If they haven't gone out already, Ian's done a phenomenal job working with the staff to get surveys out. Again, we need your input. Positive words are always welcome. Constructive criticism is fine. Be respectful. We do use those to, again, try to improve the departments. A little teaser here for the off-season. We've been in negotiations with a restaurant tenant to take over the restaurant. So verbal discussions have gone well. We'll make more announcements once we get something signed on the dotted line. But as we stated, the store will stay in our operations, but we want that restaurant to be kind of like what we used to have in the past. And so we've got somebody that's taking a look at that, and those are positive discussions. And then lastly, on the projects, the lake development projects, we'll talk more about that later on in the agenda item, but we'll discuss more about what we're looking at. We'll give an update on docks. Just on behalf of my family and the rest of the staff and the board of directors, we wish you guys the safe off-season, best travels to wherever life takes you while you're not here at Sandy Pines, and we're blessed to have a great season, so thank you.
Jeff, could you give us the follow-ups on the Lake Town Hall, please?
Sure. So, on the, if you haven't gone out to the website or you weren't part of the town hall, we had a really packed audience out here, really good conversation for the town hall, really informative. We're trying to get as much information out as quickly as possible. So the first thing that we're trying to address right now are the boat docks. Permits were released. We highlighted at what the process is, and there's been about 30 to 40 members that have submitted a request for a permit for permanent docks. Jim Buchanan, who's our Lake Chair Committee, he's been gracious to work with Park Inspector Jeff Hopkins to go and physically visit every single one of these requests, and those have been completed. The short summary on that is out of probably the 35 to 40 that we've had them review, a total of 9 appeared to meet the requirements to actually go get a permit and leave their docks in the lake. Number one issue with not proceeding to the next step is your boat dock and boat stake are in the wrong spot. So if you do the math, 40 minus 9, carry the 1, that's 31, right? That is not going to make it through the cut. We've had the request, well, can you move it? Can you move it for me? Let's do it now. No, we cannot. We don't have the ability to do that right now. We're trying to tackle these other projects, so if you have not been approved, the dock needs to come out. I hesitate to say this, but you roll the dice and leave it in there. Eagle is coming out sometime this season, and if they see it, we get fined. you get fined. So we'll pass those on to the members. The expectation is those docks need to come out. Some of the other things that we've been working on is item number 2, if your boat stay and dock is in the wrong spot, then what else do I need to do to make this thing happen? Your shoreline seawalls, if they are in disrepair, don't meet the requirements, your decking is falling apart, those are some other things that have highlighted where we're not going to be able to take the next step forward with some of these permits. We have been asked, okay, so what do we need to do with our shoreline? Jim is continuing to talk with Eagle on a regular basis. Jim and I probably talk too much during the week. But here's what Eagle is looking for your seawalls and fixing that area. Any seawall that was done in the last 6 years must be applied for and approved or removed or go back to natural or riprap. So any seawall that was done in the last 6 years, it needs to either get a permit to do riprap to get it up to date, or everything that's there needs to get ripped out and go natural. Any walls or other changes to the shoreline done before that time frame, so longer than 6 years, right now appears to be allowable by Eagle as long as it's doing its job, meaning keeping the water from washing out from underneath it, not eroding in that area. So there's a little bit of a grace there. Any walls that are deteriorated 10% or less can be repaired without an Eagle permit. I would refer you to Jim in the park inspector's office to confirm that calculation on your seawall. It's math, and they're better at math than I am. So any walls that are deteriorated greater than 10%, 11% to 50% can be repaired with a permit as long as they are brought up to state code, i.e. it has to have riprap on it. Anything that is deteriorated 51% to 100%, you've got boards falling down, cinder blocks under there, it's a technical term, I think a train wreck, it's just falling apart. That has to be completely removed, and then it's going to need to meet the Eagle requirements, which is either replace it with riprap or strip it all out and it goes to a natural shoreline. So we've been asked, hey, can you give me some guidance on what we need to do with our shoreline and our seawalls? That's what we have to date right now. There's a note down here. Please be aware that at this time, Eagle does not necessarily like seawalls, but they're allowing our seawalls as we continue to try and work with each other. They're allowing seawalls within those parameters to stay. If it's outside of those parameters, the only options are going to be riprap or go back to a natural shoreline. So that's an update that we have as far as docks and seawalls. A lot of our discussion on the work session on Monday was about the lake development. We are going to have a workshop with the board next month. We're trying to target middle of next month. We'll bring in Jim Buchanan as well from a lake development standpoint, because he's key to those discussions with Eagle. And we're going to discuss what are we going to prioritize. We owe the membership a lot of information. We're a little in flux right now, so bear with us. But we are making accommodations. When you move your decks and docks out of the water, rule says you can't store anything in green space. We're allowing you to pull that out, leave it in the green space, push it as far up up to your retaining wall or the site line, or your site lines and things of that nature. Get it out of the way in case we do have to do some maintenance or construction on the shoreline. So we're accommodating that. Eagle's accommodating the shoreline for us. We are in flux. We're trying to accommodate as many people as we can. If you're not those 9 people, your docks do need to come out though. And then out of that workshop, we'll present an update to the membership. We've got a lake development page out there. Just continue to monitor that if you're looking for any additional information. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The next item on our agenda is a resolution. This resolution is necessary due to our former general manager of the golf course, David Engel, starting. Resolution number 092223A. Resolution to authorize certain officials of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated, sole member manager of Lake Monterey Golf Course LLC, to sign checks, certificate of deposits, and other evidence of investments. Whereas the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated, sole member manager of Lake Monterey Golf Course, believes it is necessary to authorize certain officials to sign checks, certificates of deposits, and other evidence of investments. Whereas the Board of Directors also believes it is necessary to have at least 2 officials sign these documents unless such amount is minimal. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated, sole member manager of Lake Monterey Golf Course LLC, does hereby authorize the following named individuals to sign checks, certificate of deposits, and other evidence of investments or transactions for Lake Monterey Golf Course LLC effective September 20th, 2019. Jeff Schweitzer, Park President, or Kimberly Williams, CFO. Be it further resolved, David Ingalls, General Manager of Lake Monterey Golf Course LLC, is also hereby authorized to sign checks less than $1,000 for the delivery of food or beverages to the clubhouse during the regular course of business effective October 1st, 2023. Be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated does hereby approve this resolution. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Supported.
Any questions on the motion from the board? Kimberly, could you do the roll call vote, please?
Bob Dechega,
Yes.
Pat Dosma,
Yes.
Kelly Johnson,
Yes.
Paul Michael,
Yes.
Stephanie Stefania,
Yes.
Scott Lyman,
Yes.
Craig Van Bee,
Yes.
Alan Carpenter,
Yes.
and Rick Denny.
Yes.
All approved.
Our next order of business is to approve 2 new members of the Finance Committee, Doug Hassick and Ken Nemec. Am I saying that right? Does everybody know? Nemec. Thank you. I'll entertain a moment. Okay, thank you.
I'll support.
Right, Kelly?
Yes.
Yeah, Kevin. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. On the topic of committees, we still are accepting applications for some committees. We are in the process of reorganizing a little bit, and there are optimal numbers for certain committees. So if you're interested in a committee, please apply through the office. There's also an online application. And we'll let everybody know what our process is of what we're going to do with some of the committees in the future. Jeff, could you give us an update on Wash Incorporated?
Yes, so for those of you that have been keeping track of our laundry situation here at Sandy Pines, Wash Inc., our 10-year contract expired this summer. We did solicit additional quotes from, excuse me, 1 or 2 other companies as we went through the quote process. One of them dropped and quotes from another company on the east side of the state. Significantly increased the cost to the members. So we did renew with Wash Inc. One of the things that we negotiated with Wash Inc. is towards the end of the contract, the equipment started to fail. So we do have a clause in our contract that if they get notified more than 3 times within 30 days, excuse me, and they cannot fix those machines, they have to replace those machines. So hopefully that will take out some of the situations where the machines were down and no longer running. They will start in January, February, removing all of the old machines and replacing them with brand new machines. Excuse me. They are also going to go coinless. Everything is going coinless nowadays. I know that was a topic of discussion during some of the face-to-faces and another board meeting. So what we've done is we're working on Wash Inc. representatives doing a kind of training session for our members. They will have a video out there that they'll dump out on our website, or we will dump out on the website. They will be on site either April and May, or April and June. We want to get it in April when members start coming back. There'll be a main kiosk in the main laundry room by the store and restaurant and retail section there, where you can buy a prepaid card and load it up like a debit card with funds, and then you just slide or tap it on the machines. There's also an app that you can load an app up with money, and there's a scheduling option on that app as well. So you can go in and set a time you want to do your laundry. It'll lock that machine out for 15 minutes. So you have 15 minutes to get to your machine, and then you can tap it and get it running and going. So there'll be some training sessions, some information that's coming out, but we're going to get some new equipment here in 2024. So, okay. You want me to go on to winterizations?
Absolutely.
Perfect. All right. So if you haven't signed up for your winterizations, please do so. That window is closing quickly. I know Ben and the crew are already out doing winterizations. If you have signed up, please log into your member website, your member portal. That's where the confirmations are going to confirm that they have done your winterization. Please go there first before you call member service, because the first place member service is going to go to is your individual site and take a look at, yep, it's there, please log into your website, it'll have the confirmation email. So, 1, get it signed up if you haven't already. I think we're 100 or less still available. And 2, if you're wondering, hey, was it done? Go to your member portal and the information's there. That's it.
At this time, we're going to accept member comments and their comments, not questions. I would like you to approach the mic and identify yourself. And as always, please be kind and respectful. Okay.
I can't comment, I've got a question, so. Gotta be that caring.
Tom Tilton, Site 5030. I've been to the office a couple times and asked help getting, I have an app for the Wash Gang, and I have no signal there at any of the laundry guys. Last year, I probably spent $150 with my app. This year, I got $25 in there. I haven't been able to spend a nickel on that. Because there's no, for the Android phones, there's no connection.
There's no Wi-Fi in it.
There's no Wi-Fi. If you have an Apple phone, not a problem. If you got an Android phone like I do, I know several other people, they can't. So I'm stuck with $25 in my account. Is that gonna be used be able to use that next year? I'm not supposed to ask questions, but I'm wondering if that's gonna be.
Well, I know that, we're looking at that Wi-Fi connectivity. And
I have an Android.
it's the same company. It's the same company.
Is it your?
But
is
see,
it your
right there,
service?
it says Sandy Pines Gas, here's the password. You can't even find that site on your phone.
No, I have an Android and it doesn't work.
Well, I have an Android too, but who's your service through?
Yeah, I got Sprint.
I have
Well,
T-Mobile.
that's
T-Mobile.
okay, you could just have no service,
T-Mobile.
so I'd have nothing to do with
I
it.
got it right at my trailer in the house, but, you know, I go, 200 feet to the laundromat.
Yeah, we're looking.
I get it if I go outside, I can't get it once I go inside though.
I got one other comment, this is not a question, it's a comment, maybe it's an open of a can of worms, I don't know.
Open it
I
up.
know the seawalls, the members don't own the property, the shoreline, but they put all their money out of their pocket into these seawalls. And I'm under the understanding that the chapel owns the land around the chapel, or owns the chapel land, I don't know if they do or not.
No.
I don't know if Sadie Pine still has the shoreline around the chapel, but that's a real bad place where we do need seawalls. And I was wondering if the board has approached whoever owns the chapel, if they would be like the stewards, the people are that put seawalls in front of, that are in front of their memberships, if the chapel would help take care
Well,
of that.
that's a really good way of asking the question, making the statement.
I'll sit down.
It's okay. I will tell you that our discussions, for the lake committee, that area is a key concern, and it will be looked at going forward, and it does belong to senior funds.
Thank you.
Jeff, you said that the.
Karen,
Go
Karen,
up to the
microphone, name and number.
Y'all know that, Karen,
You're not immune, everybody
I'm
has to
not.
do it.
Mike likes you.
Jeff, I'm
Wait a
the,
minute.
What's your name?
Who are you?
who are you?
How are you? When do you live?
Everybody, I want you to know I'm that Karen. Just so y'all know.
Site number?
If I tell you, they're gonna stop me.
That's it, they also.
978, everybody, so you know where I live. Now, Jeff, stop interrupting me now so I can ask a question.
No questions.
Statement.
I'm
No
not.
questions. Statement, make it as a statement.
Statement.
Say what is,
What is, everybody got out of the 31 things for the vote stake, did the 9 already get their notifications?
Those people will be contacted.
So they didn't.
I don't know, and you're asking a question.
It's still curiosity.
Well, why don't you speak with
I
Jeff?
think 9 are likely to get
Oh, you guys are fun.
No, we're not. Follow the rules, yeah.
They check our minds and rules, they check our.
I can break the roof down.
Oh, the approach is the best.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm just joking.
Okay.
Thanks, Karen. You just trying to-
I go like you.
Please, change your face. I can't.
I go like you.
Hi, my name's
And 190.
Yes, sir. I just want to comment and say thank you for all the food carts you had this summer. It was great. And so I'm going to pose this not as a question. It would also be great if you guys could build a little canopy there so we could eat our lunches there and not have to go to the beach or go back to our house and warm things up. But if we could, like you have a canopy out there on the beach, if you would put a permanent structure to the roof section, so people, when they order their food, they can picnic tables, chairs, canopy, shade, something like that. That would be awesome. You guys
Similar
are
to
awesome.
the ice cream shop, right?
Yeah, like they have the ice cream shop, or even on the beach out there, but just close to the, all the food trucks.
We appreciate your suggestion, we'll pass that on, but let me make one suggestion. Right behind this building is a gorgeous area with picnic tables.
Yeah, but by the time I get there. But I'll see if I can make it that far.
Okay, well, thank you
All my
for the
fries.
suggestion.
Fries would be good.
Anyone else?
We pull this off here.
No.
No, you're fine. We can hear you.
Hi, Bruce Hanson, site 1335. One of the things that was made available to us was a Lake Monterey improvement study that was done by Restorative Lake Sciences out of Spring Lake. This was done in 2019, so it's kind of old information. This is kind of like a follow-up from the town hall meeting with the Lake Committee. There was a lot of people were here for that, and people were coming from all different directions, and this should be done, this should be done. And these guys, they did a 96-page report, very in-depth to what's going on at Lake Monterey back in 2019. Several recommendations were submitted to Lake, or to Sandy Pines, for lack of a better term. And I know that there's ongoing discussion about different things going on. Is there any possibility that we can connect with, like, these guys are experts, you know?
We, like Jeff said, the board is going to do a special session to discuss everything, and we'll discuss all the possibilities.
Can I just say too, when the Lake Committee was formed, we referenced that study. So all of the recommendations that were put forth to the board in like 2020 were from that study.
Right.
So talking about riprap on the chapel, phase 2, the lake, you know, putting the buoys in, and all of those things were referenced to that study. So we haven't ignored it. It was something that was used as a foundation for the lake.
Right.
But,
Well,
yeah, sorry.
But I mean, like, as an example, one of the
Yeah.
things they say in here is do not allow any rubber, I'm just throwing
Yeah.
one example
Yeah.
out here. Do not allow any water, balloons, firework debris, plastic, styrofoam,
Right.
or food containers into the lake, most of which will require hundreds of years to break down. And we continue to do
Yes, fireworks.
fireworks right there, and it keeps,
We also continue to.
But that's what I mean, it's
Sand
like-
shorelines and things like that, so.
Right, but it's
kind of
like-
like a balance.
so it's like, why wouldn't, I mean, this is
Breaking
kind of
the
like
rules
an
on it.
obvious thing
Yeah.
that,
Sorry.
and we're just like not,
Well, all I can say, we're gonna have the board is gonna get together, we'll have frequent town halls, that's more of an appropriate place to get into deep discussions.
okay.
But I appreciate that you read that.
Yes.
It's not
Not
I
everybody
everybody
mean,
has.
I
and
mean, there's
think
words in
so-
here that I cannot even pronounce.
I know, yeah. I mean, it
I
is
mean,
so
so
in depth.
I mean, it's so like there's experts in this field.
Yeah,
You know, it's like we
Yeah.
have auditors,
Yeah.
we have lawyers,
yep.
we need lake,
And we did meet with them too in like 2021, so just,
okay, but it's been a while,
I know, it has been.
okay. But I mean, how did they do a good job?
They did do a good job.
Okay.
They did a
That
great
was,
job.
that's my, you know.
Very thorough.
Because they, you know, one of the things that they offer is, because I looked at it, and they look pretty reputable, and I know they have connections with Eagle and, you know, that kind of thing. And they do like restorative, whatever,
Yeah.
for lack of a better, restorative services, you know,
Yep.
so. Just my thoughts.
Thank you.
Love it, thank you.
Anyone else? Need that silence. I'll entertain a motion.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
I'm Mr. McCullough, but I'm at 793, we're back in the wake zone. So my question is, how come we was short notice of this? A lot of people don't have enough time, be notified about the situation.
Notified about
About the documents, this is time.
what? We notified you as soon as we were notified.
And how long was that?
When, Jeff?
June.
And it was in
But it's
meetings.
but it's still a short time
Oh,
for
yeah.
a lot of people.
We understand
A lot of people
that.
don't feel like that we had enough time to get these docs out. But then a lot of people are older, and they definitely are not gonna pull it out. It's gonna cost them more money. They gotta find family members, or they gotta find, a contractor to pull it out. Me, myself, and my family, yes, okay, we're gonna take ours out. What about everybody else? This is really a short time notice. What we are asking for, just one extension, just a little bit, because this is new to us.
But it's our extension, it's Eagles. We didn't make the rule, it's the state requirement.
Can we ask for one because we don't know, it's a short time notice, which really is.
Yeah, we've reached out as a board and our lake committee, and they basically told us that if we come back and those docks are still in, Sandy Pines will be receiving citations.
Okay.
And the other part of that is, we need other work permits to get other things done in our park. And their response to that was, if you're not gonna uphold the other areas that we're telling you to do, we're not gonna issue any other reports or permits to do any other work that you need done. So that's why, as soon as we were notified, we got the information out. It's not something that, there was no discussion. I mean, it was, this is what you gotta do, November 1st, they gotta get out. And that's the only exception they gave us, was allow us that little bit of additional time for members to get their docks out.
So all this information came out in June, which everybody was notified, right?
Yeah.
But it's also, taking your docks out is also a rule in the rule book, that is.
Well, yeah,
it's- you
that
have to
rule
have-
was
You have
changed.
to have your dock out every year.
Okay, so the rule has changed now.
The rule used to be, you may remove your docks, but as soon as we got the notification that the May had to go, this board changed the rules. We read it before we changed the rule, and then we voted to change the rules to match what Eagle requires us to do. And then that information was out on all of our Sandy Pines communication trails, so everybody would have it.
Thank you.
And thank you for the comment, because I know it reflects a lot of people's
Yeah.
positions and situations.
Help a neighbor.
Anyone else?
I'm gonna stand up after his comment. I don't have the vote doc. Sorry, Kate.
Like lunch.
I'm Marie Ramirez at N192. He forgot his site. I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
and anybody else, if there's a suggestion of a service that Sandy Pines can call in to help people to pull their docks out, if someone does not have knowledge of who does that, I don't know, marinas or boat services or sales, but this is something that is very hard for people that get notified in short notice. And then if it's cheaper for them to pay for the service to pull the dock out versus preventing fines to Sandy Pines, which you can't fight City Hall and the state is the state. So we have to follow the rules of whatever they say. And I know it's hard for people, but maybe something can come about with our group, our board members, anybody that has knowledge, let the board know of who can help people pull these docks in, so that we get our stuff going and we can get permits following through, because if we don't follow the rules, the state's gonna do what they do. If they set the timeline, we gotta do it.
This is state mission.
You got it.
It's a good one. Yeah, that's it. Ching, 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 ching.
What's your last number there?
It's not N192.
My name is Larry Boss, my last is 788. My wife brought this up once, but if we, with all the issues of the shorelines, especially where we are on the channel, I feel a lot of that's coming from the weight of the boats. I know people said in that last meeting, we should be turning them in, take pictures, but as a security guard, there's a lot of cameras out there. Can we put a couple cameras out there to monitor what's going on? I know it's a question, but I'm just making a statement.
You're making a suggestion. We'll take
It's a suggestion, yeah. A couple cameras, then you can see what's going on, security can see.
Okay. We'll take that under advisement.
Thank you.
Like, we just need Jim to have a slide down on the channel.
So my name is Gene Noel, Site 785. I would like to address the issue of the riprap and stuff along the channel and the other areas of the lake where we need it. suggested to us, the members may have to absorb the cost of that, and maybe collectively get with the contractor, have all that, once you discount on that price. And if I owned my lot, I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. But being that the property is owned by Sandy Pines, I really feel that the Lake Committee needs to look at some type of source of income, whether it be an assessment or whatever, annual assessment for the issues we have along the lake and the channel, that it would be shared with all of the members of the park, because that channel is the main water source that feeds this lake, and it shouldn't be just on the people that happen to have sites along that channel to absorb all that cost. I feel like Sandy Pines should look into absorbing that through, like I say, additional funding. I know everybody gets an increase in their dues, but I think that would be something wise for members' money. I don't think people would really have a problem with sharing in that cost to maintain our lake.
Okay, thank you for your suggestion. I know they discussed that. We're gonna be discussing again in with the board. We're gonna be having discussions, and we'll discuss your suggestion.
I think I know too, like with the riprap, right now, I didn't invite anybody to come by and look at our site on the channel there. We had probably at least a 3-foot undercut that goes up underneath our bank. And I mean, it's probably suspended, the land above us is probably suspended this far off of the bottom of the channel. And I don't know if they would backfill that area with riprap as well, but that is something, and I've got a couple of really large oak trees right on my bank in the green area. Excuse me. And I have addressed the park in the past about that too, about maybe having those trees cut down. One of them leans way out over the channel, and my fear is that one of these days it's gonna come down just under its own weight because the root system gets washed right out. And I would much rather have it cut down and slowly rot away rather than for it to fall down and take half the bank and everything out with it. So some of those issues and stuff too, I think there are areas that need to be addressed longer. It'd probably be wise to have everybody in the end of their docks out to come in there and address all of that at one time with the riprap and any trees that are gonna be a problem in the near future, take those out. You know, we got a bargain there or whatever to do all that work. And one other issue, it wouldn't require a lot of permits or outside organizations to get involved in or anything, but I would love to see this park get a larger dog park. I have got a German Shepherd in that dog park over there, Pee Wee's kind of joke. You know, and I think the land is there for it, it's just be a matter of expanding the fence lines out. The fence along the road, I think, is already adequate, so if you just widen it out a little bit and lengthen it, probably wouldn't be a great deal of expense.
I know that the dog park has been under discussion. One thing before we make one bigger or build another one is we need people to keep the one we have clean.
Yeah.
And, you know, we definitely are looking at, you know, improving and, you know, building, making more room. But we also need people to get out there and clean up after the dog.
Yeah. People may respect it and treat it differently and stuff too, but maybe if we had a nicer dog park. I'm not saying I don't even take my dog there because it's not even big enough for her. But, yeah, you can have a couple benches in there. I think there may be a couple benches there, but I've seen other dog parks and stuff where they use the big cement culverts or whatever, the dogs like running through or jumping up on them and stuff. I don't know, you might even have some of those open by maintenance or something right now, they're just sitting that could be brought in. You know, I don't think it'd be a large cost, I guess, is my thing, so it'd be nice to see that improved. Maybe larger, I think more people would use it, the more people would use it, I think the more they would care about it and take care of it.
I just want to just touch on the subject of members paying for the riprap and all that. We've had initial discussions on that. But the other things that you have to realize is if you look around the lake, there's a ton of people that have paid to put seawalls in. And I mean, our group right down here, there was 7 of us, we paid to put the riprap in because it wasn't something the park was willing to do. But we were losing all of our beach. So we made the decision that we had to do that. The park was not going to do that.
And why I say that is, if the park and this board talks about it and brings up that subject of who's gonna pay for it, should we make everybody pay with an assessment? Then, you know, the other discussion is, well, do we pay everybody back that put their own money in their pocket to protect the lot in front of them? So there's a lot of discussion that has to be taken place, but it's not as simple as we'll just assess everybody. It's just not that assessment, but this board will make that discussion and we'll come to some type of agreement.
It's very clear, I think, to us that we need to have more townhouse on the lake, and we're gonna spend more time as a board on the lake. You know, and we really do appreciate people coming and civilly telling us their concerns and their issues and their suggestions. It does really mean a lot. Thank
And I
you.
think it's unfortunate there are members that hesitate for that in the past, but times are changing, and it is for the betterment of Sandy Pines, like I said, the whole park in general, you know, for the life of our creek and everything else. So, you know, maybe it should have been discussed back then too, and we should have had a lake committee back then, that, you know, everybody was able to help those people. It's unfortunate we had to absorb that cost, and some of them, it sounds like maybe even have lake fronts or water fronts that aren't even approved by today's standards and that sort of thing, but, that's certainly something that I think should be addressed, and it should be something absorbed by all the members of cities, because I know we can't afford that cost, but yet I'm watching our shoreline disappear, and, you know, we still pay our dues and everything, like I say, and Sandy Pines to be clear, we do have a few occasions that you didn't buy the land membership. I said, yeah, but what happens if the bank on my site starts caving in worse than it already is, and that site ends up becoming unusable, and at the time, the president of the park said that they would probably have to move me to another site. I said, well, would it be a waterfront site? He said, probably not. Well, you know, there probably would go backward in value and everything if that were to happen. And it just seems to me, you know, the importance of having to preserve all those properties that are, you know, viable sites, keeping them viable sites is really the utmost importance, just, you know, even for, like I say, the life of the lake, to keep them, so that you can get the lake dredged and the channel dredged and everything. But I know we said at the last meeting we had to address some of those other issues before it even makes sense to dredge.
Well, yeah, and, you know, thank you for your suggestion and for your comments, and we'll take it under advisement.
Thank you.
Anyone else? At this time, I'll accept a motion for adjournment.
I move. Second.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Sorry.